let's get things going. Today, we are going to open with a very, very special person. And I want to say this on a personal note. The first time I heard this person speak, I thought, okay, I got to step up my game. I truly have to step my game up. And when I looked at this person, she's an icon in many ways. This is so fascinating. She was a former pilot, a combat pilot, a former police officer, an inspiring speaker that has lived and coined zero to breakthrough. And that's Vernice FlyGirl Armour. Let's talk about this for a minute. The first time I heard her speak, I was like, okay, now this is like, she is beyond off the chain. She is incredible. Leveraging her get gutsy mindset, Vernice was the Marine Corps' first African-American female pilot. I have to say it one more time. She was the Marine Corps' first African-American pilot, first African-American woman on the Nashville Police Department, Motorcycle Squad, a Camp Pendleton Female Athlete of the Year, two-time title holder for their Strongest Warrior competition. Gosh, she doesn't get any better than this. And a running back for the women professional football team, the San Diego Sunfire. She's from Tennessee, a native of Middle Tennessee State University. FlyGirl holds 2 honorary doctorate degrees, was a diversity liaison office to the Pentagon headquarters, Marine Corps, and is a member of Comcast Universal Joint Diversity Council. Today, she's going to share how to get us gutsy, how to get us real gutsy. I was told that she's gonna turn us into gutsy women and men, and she's a game changer to gutsy. So I'm excited. So please join me in welcoming Vernice FlyGirl Armour.
I gotta take you on the road with me. Because with an introduction like that, we gotta be a duo. I mean, I need to put you on the payroll. What's up? All right, here we go. So I've been playing this. You're gonna have to up your game now and come in with music on your next one, okay? Oh man, so seriously, why am I playing Lovely Day? And we do have all of that happening and going on in our world. Because it is up to us to create the positive outcome on the other side. When I was a Marine in battle, combat was chaotic. The enemy was constantly flexing, adapting. We never knew what was going to be happening in the next 5 minutes, let alone the next hour of the day or week or month to come. And it was crazy, confusion, and just chaos. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. Today is the Marine Corps' birthday. So I just want to say thank you for your service to all the veterans out there. You know, I'm talking about this combat stuff. And how life feels all crazy and hectic right now reminds me of one of the missions that I had out there. I'll never forget it. I remember it like it was yesterday. And my attack helicopter division had been out taking out this building that was known to have munitions in it. And we had been out for a little over an hour. And we were working hard at it because, you know, with a building with munitions, we're talking missiles, landmines, explosives, rockets. I mean, anything and everything the enemy could use to create IEDs, improvised explosive devices, right? And I probably don't have to remind you of the toll it takes on our troops, from loss of limb, coming home as an amputee, traumatic brain injury, TBI, or unfortunately, loss of life. All my brothers and sisters didn't come home. So needless to say, we were vigorously working to take out this target when we got a call from one of our ground controllers, and I could hear the desperation in this guy's voice. He said, "Viper, we have Marines and soldiers pinned down north of the cemetery, and they need your help." Now, in that moment, if you could have felt the acid bomb explode in my stomach, because we had been out for a little over an hour, which meant we only had 20 minutes of fuel left. And that's not a lot of fuel to get up to the north of the cemetery, execute an attack, and get back to base. And on top of that, because we'd so vigorously been working to take out this target, we only had one missile left on the aircraft. And I'll be honest, that one missile was still on the aircraft because we hoped we didn't ever have to use it. It was known to be unreliable in close proximity to our troops. When your Marines and soldiers are in trouble, you answer the call, right? Now, this is something I call a gutsy move. In your gut, you know it's right. It takes guts to do it, but you got to take action. And if you don't take action, it wasn't a gutsy move. It was a gutsy thought. And folks, gutsy thoughts don't get us anywhere. So checking the box, Marines don't leave Marines behind. Gutsy move, we head up to the north of the cemetery. Check in on station. Next ground controller checks in with us. This guy even more desperate than the first. "Viper, we're pinned down. We don't have any ammunition to shoot backwards. We don't even have any green smoke to mark our position. Let me know when you can see the glint from my mirror." When you were down the signaling with a mirror the size of the palm of your hand, you're in trouble. As I scanned down into that cemetery looking for any sign of our friendly forces, I saw a small glint come back. "Contact, I see you. Viper, do you see that road in front of me running from east to west? Follow it to the west. You're going to see another road that runs north and south. Follow it to the south. You're going to see a building with a tower sticking out of it with a blue dome at the top. Call when you're in contact that building." I followed the first road to the west, saw the next road headed south, couple buildings, couple towers, blue dome. "Contact. Break right, I quickly yell out. Why? Because now small arms fire is coming out of that tower, trying to take us out of the sky. We broke off to the right. We flew out over the open desert. I turned that selector switch over to that very last missile remaining on our aircraft. Pop up over the ridge. I am now searching, scanning for our target. Target in sight. Aircraft pops up. Looking down on the target, finger on the trigger, waiting to come in range. But most importantly, waiting for that magical phrase, "You have permission to engage." Because once we got that permission, we were cleared hot to shoot all the missiles, rockets, ammo that we had on the aircraft to take out the target, right? We got our magical phrase. I pulled the trigger. "Missile away," I call out. Nothing happened. I mean, Marines and soldiers on the ground, inevitably getting ready to go into hand-to-hand combat if we did not come through and that missile didn't come off the aircraft. We quickly communicate in the cockpit. We communicate with the pilots that are covering us. We reset a couple switches. I turned that selector switch back over to that very last missile for one final try. And why was it our last attempt? We didn't have enough fuel to come back around for a reattack. And in a few precious moments, we'd be too close to the target for the missile to be able to come off and strike, right? I pulled that trigger one last time. Missile comes off the rail, impacts the target. Jason in the backseat shoots all 26 rockets remaining on the aircraft. And we pull off to the right. We head back to base. We land almost out of fuel, completely out of ammo. And I can already hear the voices coming out of the ready room tent. I go up to the officer of the day. I said, "The Marines and soldiers, what happened with the mission?" He said, "Ma'am, the target was destroyed. The Marines and soldiers will be coming home tonight." It was an amazing moment being able to accomplish the mission, to do exactly what we were there to do. And if I were to ask you what's the most essential component that allowed us to be successful that day, many times I get back communication, trust, perseverance, resilience, teamwork, guts, right? Preparation. And honestly, all of those, yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I always wait for someone to say the mirror, the pilot, or missiles. Doesn't usually happen, but I'm always looking for it, right? All of those components, I believe, are encompassed by the most essential component, which was our plan, our flight plan. And I call it our flight plan for success. Why? Because it just gave us the framework that when crap hit the fan, we could flex, adapt, get back on course, and accomplish the mission anyway. Period. End of story. Flexibility and adaptability was key. I mean, do you think that was our first time we ever thought, what if the missile doesn't come off? Like, no. We had contingency upon contingency upon contingency. So my question for us in the tag community is, when the pandemic hit, when we have the social injustice movement, economic recession, we have all of this disruption and chaos. What's our contingency plan? How do we flex, adapt, get back on course, and continue to accomplish the mission? When, COVID hit and I saw all of my keynotes, as far as the eye could see, disappear. At first I was like, I'll get, a month, 2 months, then we'll be back at it. So this will be a great break. Then as far as the eye could see, everything. What was my contingency plan? I kicked myself in the butt a fair amount because I felt like I should have already had my programs on digital. I should have already been consulting digitally. There was a world of digital things that I didn't have structured and laid out that I'd been planning on and thinking about and talking about for, honestly, the last 5 years. Because when I was pregnant with my daughter, I said I wanted to be able to deliver things digitally. But I was too busy traveling around, doing keynotes, going to Orlando with my golf clubs and Denver with my snowboard, right? And after a couple of days of that, I said, okay, wait a minute. I remember I used to get excited when people would tell me they lost their jobs. Remember that first recession, 08, 09? I'd get excited. And they'd say, well, Vernice, why are you excited? I was like, because now you can do what you didn't have the guts to do before. You can actually go for it. And sure enough, that recession created many millionaires, many entrepreneurs who have amazing businesses to this day because of being fired from a job they had back then, where they weren't willing to leave the security, the benefits, and the paycheck, that they were receiving. So it created a different opportunity that many saw and took advantage of. And let's be clear, opportunities don't go away. Other people take advantage of them. 1936, Napoleon Hill, in his book, Think and Grow Rich, said most of the time, opportunities come disguised as obstacles. Think about that. Most of the time, opportunities come disguised as obstacles. And I firmly believe that's true. When I first joined my squadron, I was the only black female, period, out of 67 pilots and 365 Marines. And if I just needed a moment to gather myself or think or whatever, I could always go to the women's bathroom. I'm in there by myself, right? But I remember one moment, one morning, the bathroom just wasn't going to be enough. So I grabbed my car keys, drove to the beach. And by the time I got there, I was bawling. I was crying my eyes out. I called up Mom. I said, Mom, I am done. I don't have to deal with this. I don't have to put up with this. I don't have to take this from them. I'm just ready to rip these wings off, throw them on the ground, and walk away. And my mom said, baby, you did not work this hard, this long to give up now. Stop crying, dry your eyes, and go back to work, right? And what was Mom essentially saying? Acknowledge the obstacles. Don't give them power. Acknowledge I'm not an ostrich and I'm not just going to stick my head in the sand, right? But acknowledge the obstacles. Don't give them power. Find the solution and focus on success. I mean, remember when we'd have the conference in real life, right? We'd have our general sessions and breakouts and receptions and the hotel bar. Right? I would wear my uniform and I'd walk around beforehand with my coffee and I'm just chatting, taking selfies and pictures and all of that, and hugs, remember hugs. And it was inevitable. And it was usually a woman, but she would come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I love your outfit." Like, this is not an outfit. This is a uniform. But I am from the South. So what would I say? Thank you. That's exactly right. All my Texans out there, bless your heart, right? And she was like, "Oh, you must be a pilot, right?" "Yes, ma'am." "Air Force, right?" No. "Marine Corps." She's like, "Oh my God, Marines, that is so awesome. They are the toughest. They are hardcore. They are bad. Girl, you are so bad. I am so proud of you. Oh my God." Well, wait a minute. The Marines are the toughest. And don't get me wrong, but you're a woman, you're Black. And I'm thinking, yeah, I forgot when I was brushing my teeth in the mirror this morning. Did you have any challenges and obstacles? And in that moment, I would absolutely crack up. Like, of course I had challenges and obstacles. But like, police academy was hard, becoming a Marine was hard. Combat was hard, flight school was hard. But everybody in it with me, we all had challenges and obstacles. Everybody has challenges and obstacles. Even the average white guy has challenges and obstacles, right? I mean, the key is acknowledge the obstacles. Don't give them power, right? Acknowledge the obstacles. Don't give them power. Now, being from the South, all grannies have isms. I'll just say it that way. And my great grandmother was no different. And she would always say, "Something good's gonna come out of this." That was my favorite one, right? And let's be clear, it could have been catastrophic. But great grandmother will ball up those little fists, shake all over. "Something good's gonna come out of this," right? Now, feisty does not encapsulate who great grandmother was, all right? And actually, way back in the day, she was the first African-American female unity minister alongside Johnny Coleman, right? And at a certain point, she decided it was time for a new car. So back in the 50s, she drove down to the Cadillac dealership and bought a brand new Caddy off the showroom floor. And this is a big deal because back in the 50s, a woman couldn't even go down to Sears and buy a washer and dryer without her husband's approval, right? And here's a Black woman by herself, left her husband at home and bought a brand new Caddy off the showroom floor. Next day, total. I know. But what did great grandmother say? Something good gonna come out of this. That's right. Look, I'll be honest. I don't know if great grandmother said it that way. No. She said it with conviction every time. So my question for you in this moment is, what's your live by phrase? What's your live by mentality, right? Because we are living in crazy, chaotic, unprecedented times. And it's tough. When I walked into that ready room for the very first time, again, the only female pilot out of 67 pilots, 365 Marines. The door to the saloon swung open, the record scratched, the beer glass dropped, broke, silence encompassed the room. And I said, "Oh yeah, I am a little different," right? And in that moment, I had a decision to make. When I crossed that threshold, was I going to assimilate? Resistance is futile. Or was I going to integrate, bringing who I am with me into the room? Integration. And, you know, so many times I hear people say diversity is our strength. Diversity. It's only our strength if we bring who we are into the room, into the organization, onto the team with us. And was it always an easy decision? No, not even close. And it's a courageous movement. It's a courageous conversation for us to have as a team, as we converge on this moment, as we collaborate, right, and converge in this moment of social justice. How are we moving forward and working together? After COVID, a couple months later, I watched a brother in blue take George Floyd's life. And I said, wow, I couldn't believe what I just saw. And I didn't know what to do. I said, what do I do in this moment? Because I was a former cop, former soldier, National Guardsman, the people on the streets, keeping peace during the protests and riots, a Marine, a combat veteran. I mean, I'm used to combat and chaos, right? Diversity liaison officer to the Pentagon for Headquarters Marine Corps, meaning I was over 220,000 personnel organization for diversity, and on a committee at the Pentagon that was over creating diversity policy for all of the armed services. And on the other side, I was an openly gay Black woman. So I could see, quote unquote, from not both sides, but let's just say I could see two different perspectives as a former police officer, a soldier, right, National Guardsman, and a Black woman, openly gay Black woman. I think we'd all readily agree 3 discriminated against categories, right? And I said, if I don't know what to do in this moment, how does the white mom in suburbia, how does she know what to do? What does she know to do in this moment? And many of us didn't know what to do in that moment. And I said, well, I'm a speaker, so let me speak and say something. I was like, well, but whoa, wait a minute. I don't ever talk about anything political on my platform, but I had to quickly acknowledge that this wasn't about being political. This was about being proactive. This wasn't about politics. This was about humanity. So I talked about it on social media, which led to me writing an op-ed, which led to me creating a new body of work called The New Conversation, right? The New Conversation, actively transforming our company, culture, and country. But what does a new conversation mean? Well, it was a departure from the old conversation. What was the old conversation? It was the conversation that many Black parents and parents of color have with their kids. For me, I was 16. I was getting ready to get my license, and my dad was teaching me how to drive. And he said, pull over. I'm going to ask you a question. It won't be on the test, but you better know the answer. I said, okay. He said, what do you do if you get stopped by the police? I said, hands visible, 10 and 2. That's right, he said. I said, but Dad, what if I didn't do anything wrong? It doesn't matter. You see, Dad didn't want me to be right. He wanted me to come home that night. So when we talk about the new conversation, how are we actively transforming our community, our country, and yes, our companies and the cultures inside of our companies, right? To be more equitable, more inclusive, to create a sense of belonging. Because I'll be honest with you, when I was in the Marine Corps or as a cop or as a soldier, I didn't want to be one of the guys, but I absolutely wanted to be part of the team, right? So how do we create that atmosphere of belonging? So we have to have the conversation, and we have to create a new conversation, just like we talk about our sales and ops and our goals and our KPIs, how we cultivate our culture and our companies and our community has to be a conversation, a courageous conversation, a new conversation, the new angle, not just about what was, even though it's very important to know why are we here? How did we get here? Okay, people were ripped away from Africa, slavery, Jim Crow, civil rights, all of that stuff to here we are now. And that wasn't that long ago. I mean, my grandfather talked to me about his aunt when she was in slavery. So there is a lot to work through. We've come a long way, and there's still a ways to go. What happened with Ahmaud Arbery happened just a few hours down the road from me, right? So I think we can all readily acknowledge that we have work to do. That's why I'll use our theme of that's why we're converging on this moment, taking this breath right now, right? And it's up to us to actively transform, to actively create where we're going from here. Will it be easy? No. There are going to be challenges and obstacles. Napoleon Hill, most of the time, opportunities come disguised as obstacles. So we're technology folks. Let's look a little bit at obstacles that are opportunities. So how many of us remember Blockbuster Night? Remember Blockbuster Night? Because I'm going to talk a little bit about business for a second. Remember Blockbuster Night, right? I mean, you would get off early on Friday to go out and get the movie real quick. You take it back on Sunday. Oh, I forgot to rewind, right? When they had the opportunity to buy Netflix, what did their decision makers say? They're like, we're going to eat their lunch. I mean, most of you already know this story, but what I'm trying to talk about here is the thought process, the mindset, right? If I go back to that moment of gutsy move in the cemetery with those Marines and soldiers, where in your gut, you know it's right, it takes guts to do it, but you got to take action. If I were to go back and ask those senior execs, when your moment is here, are you going to be willing to make the gutsy move? And you're like, yes, but it's not, are you willing? It's will you? Will you? Right? So I could go back, and hindsight is 2020 all day long. But when your defining digital moment is here, will you make your gutsy move? So whether it's diversity and inclusion or technology and innovation, adversity is the mother of innovation. It's the mother of driving diversity, inclusion, and equity. The obstacle, the adversity itself is what is requiring us to elevate. Just ask Kodak. When their people developed the technology for the digital camera, they're like, no, we don't want to cannibalize our business. We're a film company. No, you weren't. You were a memories company. We just kept our memories on film at the time. Now we don't even keep them. We don't even keep them on our phones anymore. We keep them in the cloud, right? So this next opportunity that rolled around, COVID hit, and the government needed some chemicals for the COVID test. Who rogered up and got that $1 billion contract? The film company, Kodak. They said, we're not missing this opportunity, because they learned the lesson of where is the opportunity in the obstacle, right? It's not, no, we're not. They ultra competent at chemicals because that's what they do. That's how they develop all their film, right? So who are we? Who are you? What is that competency that we can innovate on that's going to take us to the next level? In every moment, when COVID hit again, I had to reassess, reimagine, and reinvent, just like that, as so many of us did overnight. So how are we moving forward, creating, coming together, converging on this moment to actively transform and create the company, culture, community, and nation that we truly desire? One nation, under God, indivisible, right? With liberty and justice for all. So I'm going to wrap it up with this experience that I believe brings it all together. I had just returned home from my very last deployment, and I was at the hospital for a routine doctor's appointment. And I was standing in line doing what I love to do, talk, if you hadn't figured that out by now. And I was talking to the Marine in front of me, right? That's a component of leadership. How are we getting to know our people? How are we getting to know our customers, our clients in the marketplace? We're not talking to them, right? So I said, hey, Marine, how you doing? What's going on? He said, well, ma'am, I have some shrapnel in my left leg. I said, whoa, shrapnel? Were you recently deployed? He said, yes, ma'am, Iraq, 11th Mu. I said, hey, I was on the 11th MEU. I was your Cobra air support. He said, oh, ma'am, wait a minute. You fly Cobra? We were in Iraq. We were in the cemetery. We were pinned down. We didn't have any ammunition to shoot back with. A Cobra came in, shot a missile. I said, whoa, wait a minute. That sounds like a mission I was on. We paired it up. Same mission, same aircraft, same missile. And we started hooping and hollering, woo, yeah, all right. And we were not in the psych ward yet. And then he just stopped. Then he stood there and he looked at me. And he said, ma'am, you saved my life. Wow. That's what we do. That's what we're doing every day through the technology that we deliver to our people, to our friends, our families, our neighbors, our community. We are impacting and saving lives in the world of healthcare. Think about the technology that drives our healthcare right now. We are literally saving lives on the battlefield of life, right? One mission, one goal, one team, one tag. So when things get tough, acknowledge the obstacles. Don't give them power. Focus on the solution, right? Remember great grandmother. Something good's gonna come out of this. Remember the gutsy move. In your gut, you know it's right. It takes guts to do it, but you gotta take action. In order to be successful, you gotta get gutsy. And most of all, remember, you have permission to engage. Because folks, there are no ground controllers in life. You are your ground controller. If you don't give yourself permission, who will? So tag, get gutsy, live gutsy, lead gutsy, stay gutsy.
Well, you know what, Vernice?
What?
Here's something I want to, first of all, as the Army vet myself, 22 years Army, come on now.
All right.
I want to say this. First of all, I want to thank you for your service to this country, and I just think that's just fantastic. You definitely have inspired me to step my game up, okay, and to be a little bit more gutsy. I thought I was already, but you know what? Now I got to step it up even more.
You gutsy.
I know that tomorrow's Veterans Day, and I know that you and I as vets, we truly appreciate the ones that are serving around the world today to still protecting our assets and our you know what. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to say something to the veterans that are serving in this country today.
Absolutely. First of all, today's Marine Corps birthday. Hoorah, Marines, happy birthday. And tomorrow is Veterans Day. And veterans, those who have served and those that are still serving, signed up to do something that over 95% of the people in our country will never, ever do. And I don't take the responsibility or the accountability lightly of what we've done and what veterans and active duty are still doing. And I just want to say it was an honor to serve by your side, with you and for you. And again, liberty and justice for all, right? That's what we fought for. That's what we're fighting for. And that's what we will continue to fight for when you put on the uniform. So thank you for your service. It was an honor to serve. And that's what we do. That's what we do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, I'm very appreciative of you spending your time with us at TAG here today and Converge, and it means a lot. So we're so grateful and thankful for you. So thank you.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to get me a new tag name too. Mine's not FlyGirl. I can't steal that one, so I'm going to get one. But I'll let you know what it's going to be.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.